Hey everyone, welcome back to Josh Murray Reactions. Thank you for watching. As you can imagine, you are watching an interview I got to do with Lyle from Patrol Gaming, and it was an absolute privilege. Got to know him, got to talk with him for a while. You're going to see some of that here on a recording, but also got to talk to him a little bit more outside of it. And I can't tell you how cool of a guy he is. Just really enjoyed his time, really enjoyed his story, and I think you're going to really enjoy it as well. We talked music, we talked reactions, we talked sports, we talked upbringing, all different kinds of things. And so I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy hearing his story and what he's doing, where he came from, and I think you're gonna like it. So leave a comment below if there's anything you'd ever want to hear from Lyle, if there's a question you'd have for him, if there's a question you'd have for me. We'd love to sit down again maybe and do this again sometime, and I'd love to get some of your questions that you would have for him, because I know a lot of the subscribers we have to our channel are also subscribers to his. And if you're not a subscriber to him, jump on his channel, because he does a great job and he has such a huge base of music that he gets to react to and that he's seen. So I'd really encourage that. But sit back, relax, enjoy this time, get to know Lyle a little bit, and then leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And always hit that like button and hit that subscribe button too if you want to see more videos like this. All right, let's go. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Josh Murray Reactions. So glad you're with me today. As always, we have got a special guest today that I'm so excited to have on with us. This is Lyle from Patrol Nation, and so excited to have you on, Lyle. Thank you for being with us today.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me here.
So
I'm excited.
this is, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is, I'm
you're
so
right.
excited to just have you here. And I've been watching your channel for a long time, and really just been inspired, number one, by your work, just to think that, wow, somebody can watch music and connect with an audience and just do something like that. And it's been fun, and watching your journey has been good. So thank you for being here.
No worries. It's kind of strange being on this side of the camera, you know, not actually interviewing people, but being interviewed. It's a little weird. I'm not used to it yet. So
no, it's good. So, we'll get through it. It'll be just fine. So,
excellent.
With that said, so this segment is kind of a tell me your story, and really just want to get to know Lyle, the guy behind the camera, and help the audience see you as well. So I would just love to start it out just by hearing, number one, where you're from. I think most people know you're from Australia, but I'd love to just hear, you know, where it started, where your upbringing was from, what that was like. Just kind of tell us a little bit about that.
So actually, I'm not from Australia. Actually, I was actually born in Scotland. I do have the Scottish flag behind me, the soul tie. So I do have that. I moved to Australia when I was quite young, obviously, you know, picking up the accent. But we moved over here because my dad got a job over in Australia. And I think they moved about 15 families out from Scotland to start this company, this branch in Australia. So we kind of came out for work initially, and then obviously, you know, stayed on. We came from Glasgow in Scotland, which is quite in the 70s when we came out. It was pretty dire. It's still pretty poor, some of the areas. So obviously this was the ultimate place to grow up in Australia. You know, we lived by the beach. We had beautiful weather compared to Scotland, you know, so mum and dad just said, nah, that's it. We're just going to stay here. So that was it. So I kind of caught a lucky break, I guess you would say. So I did move back to Scotland in my 20s and 30s. And people thought I was crazy. It's like, why are you moving from Australia to Scotland? It's like, you are crazy. Right. It's like, it's that, you know, that home calling you, you know. Sometimes you got to go and see where you're from, you know, where your people are from. So, but I spent a decade living in Scotland again. And then the winters, you know, after winter, it's like, nah, I'm going back home. You know, I'm going back to the beach. So
what is the winter like over there?
It's pretty cold. I think when I left, the winter was like minus 12 degrees Celsius.
Woo!
I mean, we were just kind of joking before we started that, you know, anything under 20 degrees is cold. Anything under minus is just, frigid. That's it. Not doing it.
And to be fair to all of my That's right. To be fair to everybody in America, like we're talking 70 degrees. He's talking Celsius. We're talking Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
So it's yeah, 70
yeah,
degrees here is like we're still going out to the
yeah.
beach at 70 degrees. So
Yeah, no, that's put a coat on, stay at home because it's too cold. I'm from Queensland, we live in Queensland, so our weather is pretty tropical. It's pretty mild most of the year. Apart from summer when we get, 40 degrees and whatever else. And so
Mm,
we are considered the sun cancer capital of the world. So we're kind of,
okay.
safety about the sun. But as soon as that sun goes away, you really feel it. You really feel it here. It does get pretty chilly for us anyway. For us poor
Right.
Queenslanders. Right?
I love it. That's fantastic. So yeah, so you went back for a while, you came back, and so now you're living near the beach, you're having a great time there. And so
Yeah.
I guess how long in total have you been doing reactions on your
Um,
reaction channel?
I think for actual reactions, it's been about I think it's coming up for about 6 years. Before I did reactions, I
Okay.
used to do gaming on the channel. I started that, that gaming channel. You think you'd make it big time in gaming. I'm a pretty good gamer. People would love to come and see me games. Like, nah. Me and 40 million other people that want to be gamers as well.
That's
Um,
right.
so I did that for a couple of years, kind of on and off. I had a little bit of success with it. Um, but one day I saw this reaction. I can't remember what it was for, some music, something. And the guy was just sitting there and it ended and he went, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that one. Okay, next one. And he got like 100 comments. And it's like, what the how? Yeah, I do gaming for, hours on end and I'm chatty and everything else. I maybe get one comment. And it's like, okay.
Yep.
I'm obviously doing the wrong thing here. So that was one of the reasons. The other one was growing up in Australia, we have a lot of Australian music. We kind of
Mm,
don't really dip outside of that, too much. So that was the other thing, to expand that musical horizons, which is a tagline for my channel. So
oh sure.
to expand your musical horizons, where you're not in that same genre, the same bands, the same type of bands. So when I started, I didn't even know who Leonard Skinner was. Never Live It Down, or the Allman Brothers, or Bonnie Raitt, or all these great performers. I had no clue who they were.
Mm.
No clue at all.
To tell how fresh I
And that
am,
was
I don't know those names either. So hey, I mean, well, I knew a couple of them, but not all of them. So I'm still fresh in
yeah.
it too.
So and just that appreciation of different types of music, you get to meet different types of people as well.
Mm,
Where
yep.
we have communities within our community, we have different communities as well. We have the K-pop, and we have
Mm,
Dimash, which is a big singer from Kazakhstan. So there's all these little within our community, little micro communities. Some of them are crossing over. You do see some of them crossing over, but on a whole, they kind of stick to their own little community.
mm,
But we're kind of fostering that where you come and just enjoy all music. It doesn't matter. Any music is good music. You'll find something good in it. But just to kind of
mm,
close yourself off to that music is, it's a real shame. There's a lot of good music that doesn't see the light of day out
sure.
there. So, and then obviously you got the classics that we're starting to learn as well too.
Was there one specific video or one specific artist that really kind of started really getting your excitement and building your excitement to get into this type of thing?
Um, Probably there's a couple. First one was probably Stevie Ray Vaughan, guitarist. Absolutely amazing. If you
Yeah.
haven't checked him out, definitely check him
Yep,
out.
I've seen him. Yep.
Blues
He
guitarist.
is mind blowing.
Who Yes, yeah. So, and the other one was Coulter Wall. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's a
Hmm,
Canadian country singer, quite young. I think he's
okay.
mid-20s now. But his voice and music style is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Hmm,
And there was that point where I just thought, there's so much music out there that I don't know. So many different styles, so many talented people that kind of, you will never hear them on the radio. You'll never hear them on TV,
yeah.
but the music is just enthralling and it's fantastic to listen to. So stuff like that where, you know, you're starting to miss all that great music that's out there too. So
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
the reason why we do it is, as I said, you know, to expand your musical horizons, but just connecting with people is the main thing. So building a community behind the music is what's been fantastic about it. So
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
been amazing.
That's been a lot of fun for me too, just to see how quickly that builds up. You know, you start getting some regulars coming onto your channel.
Yep.
You get some
Yep.
names that you
Yep.
recognize and that kind of thing. And then they're so good at just hey, check this one out, check this one out, and just
Yep.
you just start going off
Yep.
on rabbit trails of music. That's so fun. But seeing those
Yes.
regulars come back
Yeah.
and building that community is a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Yes.
So
You'll get those regulars that will watch whatever you put out, you know. You'll
yep.
get the ones that only watch that one particular fandom. That's it. That's all they're here for. And you know, you appreciate that. That's fine. But it's those
Hmm.
ones that come to your gaming, to your live streams, to, you know, whatever it is you're doing on the channel. Um, they're the real kind of foundation of your community on the channel. So um, you know, and you couldn't do this if you didn't have that foundation, you know. So, you know, whatever I do is only because, you know, they're there supporting what I do. So
That's right.
as I always say, you know, my only skill is looking pretty and pushing buttons. That's it. That's all I get paid for. You know, so you know, I play piano very badly. But apart from that, you know, it's just being able to, like, an in between the community. You know, I'm just the face of the channel, but everybody else is the actual channel. You know,
Mm.
that community is what makes it possible. So I've
Yeah.
been doing it now almost 2 years full time. And
Wow.
I'm surprised every time I go live on a Saturday that people actually turn up. You know, it's like, oh my God, they actually came back. You know,
Yeah.
it's a kind of a, it's a weird situation being a YouTuber as a job, you know. So and people say, well, what do you do? It's like, well, I do this, and it's like, well, I could do that. It's like, okay, let's see it.
Go
You
try
know,
it. Yeah.
anybody can do it. You know, turn the camera on, let's go. You know, so
Yep.
I'm always for bolstering people up. You know, if you want to do it, do it. Here, I'll give you all the information I've got. You know, what I've learned over the
Mm.
past 6-7 years. No issues. I'll give you information. So
Mm.
and then you'll see people do it for a month and they go, oh, it's too hard. I couldn't do it. You know, I didn't get
Yes,
that 10,000 people in the first month. I'm not doing it anymore. It's like, yeah,
that's
okay.
right. That's right.
Um,
It's hard to build that resiliency
took me
and just to keep
ages.
going and keep going, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, you don't do it to get famous or to get money or to do it full time. You do it, you have to start it because you love it. You know,
Mm.
I used to work full time and then do this on the weekend after work, whatever, for years and years and years, 5 years. It was basically working two-time job, you know, two jobs. But you do this because you love it. You know, you love discovering that new music. You
Mm.
love connecting with people on the internet, you know, like yourself, you know. So it's just, you have to have that love first. You know, if you don't do it
That's
for the
right.
right reasons, you'll never do it. So
Yep.
because when it gets hard, and it does get hard, you'll just give it up. It's like, yeah, I can't be
Yeah.
bothered.
That's the first
Can't be
thing that I
bothered doing
saw when
that, you know.
I was
So
researching, like, how to do this and what's the best tips and what should you do, and the biggest thing was,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
don't do it because 'cause you're trying to get famous. Don't do it because you want the money.
yeah.
Find
Oh yeah,
something you
no,
love to do
no,
and do that, because otherwise
yeah,
you're just gonna be out of
yeah,
it too quick.
yeah,
So So we're
yeah,
both big fans of David Phelps, and that's kind of what got me onto your channel, because I was originally one of those people that, like, I'm just going to watch your reaction to David Phelps and see what you think. And then I started
yeah,
going through all your other music and really liked it. But the one that started for
yeah,
me, and the one I'd like to just ask you a little bit about, was the Oh Holy Night reaction. We talked a little bit about this, but so many people
yeah.
watch that, and it seems to grab a lot of people's attention. But yours was a little special because it really seemed to just grab your emotions kind of by the neck and just take you in on it. And so I'd just love to hear,
Yeah.
being where you're at now and thinking back on that moment, like, what was that like for you
Yeah.
watching that and going through that? And tell us kind of how that went for you.
So, Oh Holy Night came about. Somebody sent me a message on Facebook and said, I've done a couple of his reactions. This gentleman that sent me the message, he never steered me wrong. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'll check him out. Never heard of him, obviously. David Phelps. I love "Oh Holy Night." It's one of my favorite
Mm.
Christmas songs. One of my favorite songs. So I thought, it couldn't hurt another person to react to. So I went into it totally blind, not knowing who he was, and the song started. And I think within maybe the first two lines of that song, you could probably see the change in my face. And it's just like, and I think the
Mhm.
first words I said were, "Who the hell is this guy?" It's like, it
That's
was
right.
like almost like a breath of fresh air. The first that hit me was his very clear diction. It's like, oh my God, can hear every single word he's saying. It is so clear. And then that power comes with it as well. And you just think, oh my, what is happening? And at that one point where he is singing, and then the people behind him stand up and start singing
Yeah.
as a choir, and it's just, that was it. I was hooked completely, completely. Um, it's one of those reactions where you'll never forget it. You remember it for all the right reasons, and everything that's come from it has been so positive. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
there's a big community of David Phelps on the channel. I've actually had to make another channel for gospel because they're growing so much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but from that reaction, it's just kind of spiraled out of into something massive that I thought would never happen, from
Mm.
one reaction. So, and as you know, a couple of weeks ago, I got to sit down with David and have a bit of a chat as well.
Love that.
So from that one reaction where I was totally, totally blown away with this gentleman singing one of my favorite songs, and which has to be my favorite version of the song completely.
Mm.
It was just mind boggling. And, they always say that cliche, oh, it was life changing. It was definitely life changing.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely life
Yeah.
changing.
What was
So,
the biggest takeaway that made it life changing for you? Was it?
um, I think because it's not just David and the song; it's the community that comes with it as well.
Mm.
There is a big David Phelps fan base. We do have, as I said, we do have a lot of those fans within the community. But they support me as well. They join the Patreon, they join the Green Team, as we call it, on the membership on YouTube.
Mm.
Um, so it's not just that they're supporting me for David; they're supporting me for the whole journey, which I think is, part and parcel of that community. That gospel, that Christian community that comes along, and it's just like, you know what, we're just going to support you in everything, because we believe in you.
Mm.
We love the message you're sending out there, that positivity, and this is what we're going to do for you. So I think that's the thing that changed with it as well too. So it wasn't just a fandom that comes and listens to that one song or that one person. They support you the whole way. So
Yeah.
which has been fantastic. So I've made some really good friends from that one song, from that one reaction as well too.
That's neat.
So um which has been fantastic. So,
Mm.
and they've actually crossed over into now the football that I'm, just getting into now.
Yeah.
They've had kids that went to universities, and stuff like that, and so they're really getting behind the football now too, which is fantastic. So
Yes. I'd love to.
it's really kind of hit a nerve as well, the old footy
I
as
bet I'd
well.
love to get
So
into that football a little bit. I want to ask you one last
yeah,
question though, and you mentioned about
yeah,
your interview you did with David, which I really enjoyed,
yeah,
because even if you scour the internet or scour YouTube, you don't see a lot of interviews with him, and so it's just good to
yeah,
see another one, especially later in his career. But like, I guess, what were your top takeaways from that? And specifically, I mean, watching the video, I saw some details there, but a lot of people wonder about people that they like. Are they the same outside of the camera as they are behind the camera? Are they just as genuine as they
yeah,
seem and all that? And so just touch on that a little bit and then just maybe your biggest takeaway from doing that interview.
yeah. Um, from what I got, with that interview with David, it kind of came about. through kind of two or three people kind of, expressing to David, actually, you should sit down with this guy from Australia. He loves your music, he loves your channel, he supports you. And it's kind of just snowballed from there, so and then somehow David's got wind of it, and his management team emailed me and said, look, we want to sit down and have an interview, because they did the Australian song on their latest album.
That's right.
Stories and Songs Volume 2. So you're the voice from Australia. So
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, well, this is going to be perfect. This is going to marry up. Excellent.
Yep.
So I've never been so nervous in my life. Just before that interview with David, it's like, come on, what are you doing? I don't know why I'm so nervous, but as soon as he came on the screen, it was just like, oh, okay. It just relaxed, and we just chatted for a little while before we recorded, and it was just like chatting to a friend. I must say he's exactly the same before and after we started recording.
Yep.
It didn't change. His mannerisms
cool.
didn't change. He didn't put on any professional the whole way, but it wasn't a fake professionalism. So, I mean, it was just exactly the same. Just exactly the same. So, I think the biggest takeaway was that he is so down to earth. That he doesn't have a shred of I'm better than everybody else because I sound like an angel. It's like I'm just the same as everybody. What I'm not doing here, I'm outside, farming and looking after cows and whatever else. So,
that's right. Yeah,
I'm mending fences and everything else. It doesn't matter. So I'm just the same as everybody else. But sometimes I produce this music. So I think that was the biggest thing, and I think that's the thing that kind of endeared me even more to him as well. It's like he's just like everybody else. He's just such a down to earth person, which has just been fantastic. So they say you never should meet your heroes, but definitely meet David Phelps, because he is just fantastic. So
that's a dream of mine to be able to get him on here.
It was a really good interview. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your football. I'd love to hear just how this kind of got going, and I watched some of your football stuff too, and it's been fun to see, as you put it, an Aussie reacts to football. It's been fantastic.
I know. It was just it honestly happened as something came up on my feed, and I thought, wow, that looks really interesting. What's this entrances? What are you talking about? I didn't know what an entrance was. It's like, we don't have them here in Australia for our sports. And it's just like, okay, this is a bit weird. And then I watched it and I thought, wait, this is college. What's going on? Our college here, you go, you learn stuff, you go home. That's it. We don't have 100 years of history. We don't have marching bands. We don't have cheerleaders. We don't have marionettes or whatever it is. We don't have tailgating. We don't have anything.
They do it how it's supposed to be done.
It's a whole
new
world. I know, that's it. It's a whole new world that just opened up, and it's just like every little bit you learn about it, it's just like, wow, okay, this is overwhelming. And people go, oh, you're so fake. Why are you so worried about it? It's like, because we don't have it here. We don't have any of it. Pageantry, right. We don't have stadiums at 110,000 people for college students. It's like, we don't have any of that.
Yep.
It's just like, it's ridiculous. I still look at it sometimes, even though I've done quite a few reactions to the football now. Every time I watch it, it's like it's brand new. It's like, oh my God, they even do this. It's ridiculous. Like when I did the facility tours, 288 million or, however, 100 million. It's just like, wow.
Yep. It's a double-edged sword, because it's like we love the game so much, and yet you'll look at it and you're like, gosh, you just spend so much money on doing this stuff. Like, is that worth it? Like, couldn't this be used for better things than like creating this college experience? Like there's part of the way you do it that's attractive. Like, hey, let's just go, let's learn, let's come home. But then at the end of the day, what would I do on my Saturdays if I didn't have my football?
I think, I mean, a lot of people have said, it's kind of out there because, they're trying to attract all that, advertising and TV and, that kind of good players and everything. And they say, a good football program can pay for so many other programs behind it. They can finance some other sports and science and everything else behind it. I mean, if that's the way it works, that's fine. So and then somebody was saying football programs aren't supposed to make a profit, so everything goes back into the school. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you can afford to go to the school, hooray! You've won. But I think if it's getting used for other programs, I think that's worth it, really. And as you said, what would you do on a Saturday without your football?
That's right. Yeah,
You know?
it's interesting because like if you watch, you'll see sometimes these big programs will play these little colleges. And so like Michigan State just played oh gosh, who was it? It was some little team, but they make that little college
Yeah.
makes so much money for playing Michigan State. And that's why they're okay just
Yes.
going there getting their butts kicked because they're getting paid, $5 million to
Yeah.
come play in their stadium. So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. They were saying that the first couple of weeks it's usually like a kind of blowout games. People will come, they'll get paid for it, but the team, the big team will win. Most of the time.
Mhm.
But it's good for them to settle into the season. The other team get a bit of money for their program. So it's the other thing I found about college football is, well, everything is different, but the way they rank people as well. It's not
Oh, yeah.
just on how many games you win. It's all these, meetings and everything else in the background. It's just like, okay, that's weird. I don't understand that.
Mhm.
So as long as you look good and you're performing well, you're ranked well. Yeah, it's kind of trying to get my head around that as well too. So it's a little difficult. So
Yeah. No, I get. So tell me this, is football soccer, or is football football?
um, well, growing up as a Scotsman, football is football, as in soccer. That's football.
Yep.
Then you have rugby league, and then you rugby union, and then AFL. So
Okay.
there's a whole lot of
Gotcha.
different footballs. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the big argument. Is
yeah,
football soccer? Is football football? Who at this point, who cares? It's fine.
yeah. That's right. That's right.
Um,
Who cares?
that's right. That's
So
right. So you've done the football stuff, you've done the music stuff, you've done the gaming stuff. I'd like to transition a little
yeah.
bit and just maybe give you a chance to and we talked a little bit about this. Give some advice to somebody that's maybe walking into this whole reaction thing and thinking, "Gosh, I might want to do this kind of thing. This looks kind of fun." Like, what kind of things do you wish you knew when you started that you know now?
Um, I think yeah, it's quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is don't take what people say in comments to heart. I know it's very
Mm,
easy to say, it's very hard to do. You'll get 10,000 good comments, and then you get that one bad comment that will be played over and over and over and over in your head, so
yep.
and a lot of people will get those bad comments and then change their channel accordingly to that bad comment. I think you've got
Hmm.
to have your own vision for your own channel, where you want to go, have a plan,
Yeah.
and then just kind of stick to that plan, but don't try to do everything at once. Don't try and get that 10,000 subscribers, or, even 1,000 subscribers. You've got to,
Hmm.
each reaction, you've got to do it with the same, come into each reaction as you would, your very first one, with that excitement, that wonder of, oh my God, what am I going to find out today? What music am I going to find out? Is it going to be a rabbit hole that I'm going to go down at a later stage? Or is it just going to be a reaction I do and it's done, But I think when I sit down to do a reaction, I go, okay, don't worry about the other 3,000 reactions that I've done. I'm only doing this one today. Let's see what we get. So,
Mm.
and try to do every
Yep.
reaction as best and as honest as you can. So, there's no point being fake and overblown and everything else that sometimes you see with reactions. They're jumping around the room and whatever else. That might be somebody's style. If that's your style, all the more power to you. But
Hmm.
I think honest is the best thing. If you're being honest, you don't have to worry about what you've said in the past, because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Um, So I think that's probably the main thing. And don't worry, you see my setup and cameras and everything else and the lights. Don't worry about it. This has taken me 7 years to get. You
Yeah.
don't need to have everything straight away. If you got a camera, fine. If you got a telephone, your phone will be a camera. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
uh, go with what you want, but trying to make it the best reaction that you can.
Mm,
So
that's
um,
good.
you can have the best of gear and then no idea, as they say.
Yeah,
So
that's
make
right.
terrible reactions if you've got a $10,000 camera. It doesn't matter. So
Yep.
I think just being honest to yourself and to reaction, and then that all comes into being honest to your community as well too. So
Mm, mm,
um,
yeah.
I think that's the best plan. You know, so
How often?
how actually turning it back on yourself? How have you found reactions? How have you found doing them?
Yeah, so as I stated in the beginning, I kind of saw you doing them because I
Yeah,
would go onto YouTube and just look for different music videos of music that I enjoyed, and then I stumbled upon
yeah,
people watching the people that I enjoyed and were seeing them for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. Like, let's see what these people think." And then so I would see people like you, I would see other people doing these reaction videos, and I was like, "Gosh, that looks like a lot of
yeah,
fun." And then I thought, I really love gospel music. I really love that kind of stuff, and
mm,
that's it's kind of a niche in
yeah,
itself, because number one, there's
yes,
not a ton of people that
yes,
still listen to that, and two, I'm a 35-year-old dude, and most 35-year-old dudes nowadays aren't into gospel music. So let's try this. Let's see if we can get somewhere
no,
with it. And so that's kind of what started this. I just was like, let's just try it, throw some stuff out there. And it started taking off, and the community started building, which was a lot of fun. And so I'm really enjoying
yeah,
it. I haven't expanded as far yet in my musical journey, but where the audience has taken me so far has been fun. And then I'm also trying to
yeah,
incorporate, some other stuff too, not just reaction, but also just some stuff that can be beneficial for everyday life. Whether it comes to
yeah,
just through my faith or through the politics of the day, or just some hope or some encouragement that I can give somebody. So I'm trying to use it for that as well, because my question is always, what's the mission behind what I'm doing? And it doesn't just stop with just giving people reactions. I want to try and make people's lives better with what we're doing.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's always nice to be able to add something to a community, even if you just touch that one person, through positivity or
mm,
whatever it is you got for the day.
yep.
Um, I've gotten some messages through Facebook and which have been absolutely amazing. The way that you sit down for a reaction, you put it out there in the world, and you go, okay, that's it, that's done. See you
Yeah.
later, and then 3 months later, you get this comment about, oh man, if it wasn't for your reaction, this would have happened or that would have happened. It's like, oh,
Mm,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, I put it out there as a video, you forget about it, but it's really touched somebody's heart. You know, um, that's the honor that we get doing reactions and being in front of a camera on YouTube. Sometimes you touch people in a way that you don't know until they tell you, and when they do, it's such an honor. It is so humbling
Yeah.
to hear that, oh, you've done this for me, or I was in a dark place and I watched this YouTube channel of
Mm,
yours, and it got me out, and it's just like, oh, it is so humbling, so
yep.
so humbling. And to be able to do that, I think is the best thing. Sub counts and all that kind of stuff doesn't matter. If you touch that one person in the community, that's what we're here
Mm,
for. So
mm,
um, that is the benefit that comes along with it too.
yeah.
So I mean, you'll get those messages one day, and it is so humbling within your heart, and it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, wow, it's unbelievable,
Mm.
unbelievable. So
I love that about what you're doing, and the fact that it seems like you haven't been chasing the views, you haven't been chasing the subscribers, even just in
no,
talking with you before we got
no,
here, like just your heart in that, like, here, I'm just to do this. I'm here to do this for fun. I'm here to do this to serve the people that have come
yeah,
alongside and supported me and all that kind of stuff. And so I appreciate your authenticity in doing that, and being real about
yeah,
that. That's cool. So um, I thought about this question as we were talking, because obviously, like for me, you know my answer to this question, but if there was somebody that you could collaborate with, or you could interview, or you'd have the chance to meet, or maybe do an interaction with, who would that person be?
Ooh, now that's a tough one because there's so many good people.
Mm.
Um, I honestly, I think if I could interview anybody, I'm going to throw out a name that you probably never heard of. His name is Jimmy Barnes, who is an Australian singer. He sings for a group called Cold Chisel, who is my favorite group. But it's not because they're my favorite group. It's because my mum got me onto the group. So my mum is no longer here. So
Mm.
they're a rock and roll group in Australia. They've been around since the 70s. But Jimmy's also from Scotland as well. He came over to
Okay.
Australia when he was 7. So there's that kind of connection. That's why mum liked him. And then, I kind of hooked onto the band as well too. I think to be able to interview him, because he's been in the limelight for so long in Australia as well.
Mm.
But just to have that connection then with my mother again, just to say, hey, look, we got to talk to Jimmy, we got to talk to Jimmy Barnes, to interview him. So
Yeah.
I think he would definitely be on the top of my list as well too. So
Mm.
I think that would be fantastic. So
That's cool.
unfortunately, we're all getting on,
What?
so it's got to be very soon.
Yeah. So tell me this. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Yep. I'm 48.
Okay. All right. So
Yes, 48.
you're not too much older than I
Yeah.
am, but I lost
Yeah.
I lost my mother when I was 18, actually. But it was interesting because
Yeah.
she loved Van Halen, and I don't know if you've ever watched or reacted to Van Halen
Oh,
before,
yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely loved Van Halen. But she was a big Sammy Hagar fan, so there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I love David Lee
Oh,
Roth," or "I love Sammy Hagar." And so
yeah.
that would probably be somebody else that I would think would be kind of cool to meet or to talk to, be Sammy Hagar, just for that connection that she had with
Yeah.
them. She loved them.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's
Yeah.
cool. So, well, I have really enjoyed this. There's some other stuff I could think of, but I want to end with a kind of interesting question that I actually meant to ask you at the beginning, but I love hearing people's reaction to this.
Okay.
And I like to ask it as an icebreaker, but let's do it at the end for fun. I always ask them, if you could go back in time, anytime whatsoever, and watch any event take place or happen, what would that be for you, and why?
Wow. That's a geez.
You could take a minute.
Um, wow. Of everything that's happened in the world, there's so much to
Mm.
choose from. Wow. It's probably going to sound ridiculous, but I would go back because I'm a huge history buff as it is.
Mhm.
So I would go back to the very first time where Augustus came into Rome as emperor. I know it
Wow.
sounds a little
Okay.
weird. It's like, what the heck are you talking about? But I think because that changed civilization forever. Him coming in as
Yeah.
emperor of that town, of that country, of that empire. Uh, you know, Julius Caesar has now passed away. He's beaten Mark Antony. I think coming into Rome the first time as emperor, changing modern civilization forever. I think that
Wow.
would be an amazing event.
Yeah. No
To
kidding.
actually to hear and see that would be fantastic.
I've never
So
heard anybody answer it that way. That is really cool. You're going back
yeah, I
far
think
though.
that would
That's
be
neat.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Lyle, hey, again, so thankful that you were able to be on here. So thankful that you were able to come on the channel and join me. I've really enjoyed it. Had a great time, and maybe we can do it again sometime. Love to collaborate again and go
definitely.
from there. So, um, eh, finally, just tell people how they can find you and where your content is.
Obviously on YouTube, you can just look up Patrol Nation. I'm pretty sure I'm the first one that turns up, and then go from there. There's a whole heap of different channels and stuff you can look at through there. So
Awesome.
enjoy.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. And make sure you check him out. He does a fantastic job. And again, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. We'll see you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.